still catching up on a backlog of videos that I wanted to shoot. One thing that I definitely wanted to address, because this has come up a couple of times that I've noticed recently, and it will be germane at the end of this video, is I talk to so many Ghostbusters fans, and I have sought advice from so many people or knowledge from so many people, or I've contacted them and said, hey, what's this little piece of information? And I owe all of these successes to other people. You know, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here to get these videos shot, to make my collection better, to make my props better. Case in point, I credited, and rightly so, Glenn Frederick when I was talking about the Egon headphones. What my brain had omitted was earlier this same month, while talking about headphones to Lars Carlson, he linked me to some auctions, including a set of Nova 50s, and I just like followed the link, put it in my saved, put it in my watch file, and said I'll go look into this later, and forgot about it. Just gone. Now the ones he linked me to, I did follow the link later. They got sold, but they were missing the foam. So in the end analysis, I was happier that I'd gone with the information from Glenn and had done a search for different ones and settled on the one that I wound up with. But yeah, so Lars commented on the video. He's like, oh, I'm glad that worked out for you. And I'm like, what is he talking about? And I go looking through my saved searches on eBay, and sure enough, there was already a Nova 50 in there. If I had just followed up, if I'd had the time that day to kind of search through it and look at everything, I'd have had a pair of headphones a little bit earlier, earlier in the same month. So similarly, I did the videos about my Ghostbusters sniffer and some of the information on that, and the 3D printed parts, all credited to Ryan the Ghostbuster. This same year, I owed Ryan the Ghostbuster thanks for a video that I did about the Quasar unit for the Panasonic PK750 camera that I have. So yeah, same person, and I didn't make the connection until I was looking back over some of my earlier videos, and I'm like, wow, that's the same dude, So yeah, I'll talk to somebody more than once and not even realize that I'm talking to the same person, because in the Ghostbusting community, because of the forums, and then on Facebook, I got a lot of friend requests after Ghost Heads. I'm talking to names. I don't have faces to go with them. And so sometimes my brain is very visual. If a manager says, hey, you remember so-and-so used to work here? I'm like, name does not ring a bell. But if I see a face, I'm like, oh, I know that person. So, you need to hush. You need to hush. Calm down. Come here. So yeah, if a person that I know primarily online and I are talking, sometimes it's very difficult for me to know which person that was because it's just a name. So we're gonna have some bad weather later. Is that why you're staring out the window? Yeah? Yeah? Is that what you're doing? All right. You wanna see a dog? Look. All right. You get down. So, the thing that I've got today that I want to open, that arrived a couple of days ago, I think it arrived the day before the repair parts. Hasbro 4 pieces grab and go games assortment. That's what it was. That's exactly what I wanted. No. This is something that I remember the conversation with somebody. I remember the information they gave me. I remember what they knew that became part of what I knew, standing on the shoulders of giants. I just don't remember who the person was. So if you watch this video and you go, it was me, let me know. I will try to credit you in a future video. But someone was talking to me about tracking down the final item for a collection, and I might, hopefully, fingers crossed, have done the same now. And what it is I gotta tell you, Japan had some of the cool Ghostbusters stuff in the early days. Now I've got this thing that I've been looking at lately, and it's got some great photos in here. I posted some on my Facebook the other day, and let me see if I can find one of them. Is that one of them? No. Here's a good one of the crowd outside of Central Park West with the Ecto in the shot, and they're all lying down. And then here we go. Now this one is Bill Murray in the mayor's office, but he is not wearing his coat, so that's from a rehearsal shot. So yeah, these, I can't read the text, but I love the photos. And there's, you know, at least 2 more, maybe 3 more Japanese magazines and books that I'm hoping I can eventually get in my price range. I got that one for a pretty good price. But the cool stuff that Japan had that you saw just a minute ago were these Tsukuda model kits. Now this is the Terror Dog. It's not entirely 100%, you know, maybe screen accurate, but it's extremely accurate for what was available in the day. Now I've had this thing since I was in high school, and I graduated in 1988. So yeah, this is how quickly and how well they were doing Ghostbusters dimensional figural pieces. So the story goes, I had a buddy in high school, and he tended to like everything that I liked, or he tended to like everything that our other buddy liked. You know, I liked Ghostbusters, so he liked Ghostbusters. That guy liked King Diamond, so he liked King Diamond. And matter of fact, he wound up dating, marrying, and divorcing an ex-girlfriend of mine. So, when he really started liking his own stuff, then all the other stuff that he'd collected just because his friends collected it, he got rid of that stuff. So he got the idea that he wanted to buy himself a drum set and actually become a drummer. And so that's when I bought a lot of his old G.I. Joe figures, and I mean cherry-picked through there and got just the parts and pieces that I wanted for a really good amount of money in the 80s. And then he had kind of sniped me. I had gone to the local comic book shop, and I'd gotten this Tsukuda Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they also had the Terror Dog, and he swooped in and got the Terror Dog before I could. So, and he had painted it with some like water-based acrylic paints and everything, just some details on the face and the mouth and the eyes. You can kind of see remnants of that paint. But when he had this idea about wanting to get the drum set, then I said, I got in his car one morning before school, and I said, I will give you $30 for that Terror Dog. I think that's what he paid for it at the comic book shop. He might have paid $20 because one of these boxes over here says $19.95 on it. But anyway, I paid him $30, and he was like, oh, done. You know, brings it to my house and everything. And I put it in the bathtub, and I sat there with a toothbrush, and I managed to scrub most of that acrylic paint off. It had kind of tinted the plastic a little bit, and down in the teeth there's still some. I don't know if you're seeing that or not. But anyway, so when I got back into Ghostbusters collecting, I went up in my parents' attic and found the box that Stay Puft here came in, and unfortunately it had gotten very badly damaged. I had used this giant box just when I was going through a divorce and snatching and grabbing things up. I put a lot of Ghostbusters stuff into this big box. Stay Puft, I don't know where he was at the time, but this is the original box that he came in, and you've seen this in a 2011 video of mine, and it's got some damage in there from liquids that had leaked inside of it. Now here are the boxes for the Ghostbusters Terror Dog. That one's the one that says 1995. And after 2011, at some point, I decided that I wanted a second one of these so that I could display them with the Keymaster horns and the Gatekeeper horns. That's how much the Japanese were spending attention to these things in the day. So I posted some photos when I got the second one of these. And let me check the box that this one, see what price it has on it. And you can hear the spare horns rattling around there. This one does not have a price. So this may have been the box that he had from our local comic book shop, and then at some point the other one was $19.95, and trust me, I didn't pay $19.95 for it in 2011. Here's the alternate head, by the way, for Stay Puft, if you remember that video that I shot in 2011. So what's in this box? Well, a few years ago, someone, and I don't remember who, told me that there was yet another Tsukuda Ghostbusters collectible. And I'm kind of sweating this because the auction, I finally got a hit on an auction listing for this other item, and the pictures in that auction left a little bit to be desired, and I'll explain that when I get this thing open. Did you see the previous video where I talked about this being my least favorite part of my videos? and this one's got a long running time already because of the subject matter. Packing peanuts. Oh. Okay, but I think I can get this out without a lot of problems. The elusive third item in the Tsukuda collection. Let's just rip this paper off. Is a smaller Stay Puft. And he did not have a photo of what was inside the box. I was just going off the photo of the box and the fact it was different from the big box in subtle ways, and the listing of the size of the item. He did not have a picture of that little guy in there. He had used a picture of the old Kenner Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So I was really sweating that I was not going to get a Japanese box with an American toy inside, and I did not. Now this guy is already pre-painted, and just like him, he has a cloth tassel on his hat. So, whoa, very, very cool. I wish this guy had been pre-painted. And look how white that plastic is, and look how yellowed this is. Eventually I started keeping this with like a cloth over it. You can see how yellowed the plastic is. So now I guess I've got one of each item from the Tsukuda Ghostbusters collection. So thank you for watching. Oh, that was almost bad. Oh, speaking of bad, did you hear that noise it made when it fell? There are Lego pieces here on the table for another video that I'm planning to shoot. I was moving some boxes around a while ago and I hit the camera. The camera fell over just its own height. It's on a little table pod that's yay tall. And I had it right here because I'd taken the chip out to put in that computer to upload the previous 2 videos. And it just goes boom and fell into the Legos. And I thought, oh my God, I've shattered it. I've shattered it into a million pieces the day after I fixed it. No, it was just the Legos making noise, and obviously the camera is still working. So, okay, now we'll turn it